This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, everybody. It's Cheryl from Unleashed. And today, as my guest, I have Jeff Allen from Monkeys Dog Hospice and Sanctuary. And he is an angel on earth. And we're going to tell you the story. So, Jeff, welcome. I'm so glad you could be on today. And what you do is very important. You know, there are certain people in our section who love animals, who foster, who rescue, who are able to take in sick animals and make them better. And there certainly is a niche for what you and your wife, Michelle, do. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So, Cheryl, thank you very much for having me on, because we love to talk about dogs, right? We all do. At Monkey's House, we rescue the hospice dog. So what a hospice, some people may not be familiar with that term. It's a dog that has a terminal diagnosis and the shelter is going to destroy them. So generally they're senior dogs, not always, but I'd say 98% of the time they are. And we bring them to our home. It's in a home environment. We live on a 6-acre little farm, and these dogs, no kennels. They live in the house. They have tailored meals based on the condition that they're in. If they have cancer, if they have liver or kidney disease. We have fresh feeding, so it's gently cooked or raw food with herbs. We use some traditional Chinese medicine to help as well. And the best thing is they have a bunch of aunt and uncles, which we call our volunteers, that come over and spend time with them. And then we do a lot of living in the moment. So we go to the Jersey Shore. We go to the Pine Barrens, which is a big state forest near us. And every year we sit on Santa's lap. All the dogs go and sit on Santa's lap. So we're really unique in the sense that we want to give these dogs quality in their final moments. We're not trying to give them, stretch out their lives, even though because of the way they live here, they always do seem to live a lot longer and happier. But we're really trying to put quality into that final chapter.
It really is a wonderful thing. Now, do you find you get them from a shelter? So are they strays, or there are many, many people who have an animal, and when the animal gets sick, they drop them off or they put them in a shelter, and either they can't afford to, give the animal care. So are they mostly animals that came from a home and they were put in a shelter, or are they strays?
Yeah, there's a combination. We don't know all that much about the past, and we try not to think about the past because in general, when we get these dogs, they are in really rough shape. So we really focus on the time we get them and forward. But I can tell you that, like you said, some people can't afford the treatment. Some people, sadly, it's like an old pair of shoes that they just throw away when they get old and need our help the most. Others, we actually have had some that their parents have died, right? So the owner passed away, and then no one would take that dog in. The dog went to the shelter, was very sick, and that's very sad. So we always say, make sure that you have a will that's going to cover that for your pets. So there's all different variations of how we do get these dogs, but they are from shelters or other rescues. We won't take them from individuals, although we'll help individuals, guide them. There are some resources for them, different nonprofits that will help them out. So that's how we get them.
And you're monkeyshouse.org, correct?
Yes, it's monkeyshouse.org. And we're also on Facebook. So every night we post on Facebook, and we have, believe it or not, we have about 70,000 followers now on social media. So people from around the world follow us, and it's amazing how they fall in love with these dogs from a distance, from Australia.
I saw pictures of the dogs, Fletcher and Buck and Hannah. They're gorgeous animals.
You
wouldn't know they were sick.
Yeah, I always say, people sometimes wonder when I talk about transformation, these dogs, they transform. And I'm saying, look, they're terminal dogs. We're not going to stop them from passing away and going to the Rainbow Bridge. But the transformation is amazing because both physical, they'll come in here emaciated. Like I said, kidney disease, liver disease, will really make it better and give them quality of time so they can live in a moment. And then sometimes psychological. They'll come here and they're shut down because who knows what the past was like. Next thing you know, they're loving life. They're loving the other dogs. They love the aunts and uncles that come here. So it is transformational.
How did you get into this? How did this come about for you?
My wife and I were always big. Both of us actually grew up with all kinds of animals, dogs, cats, horses, you name it. We probably both had it. And then when we got married, we had all kinds of animals as well. And in about 2010, so 10 years ago, we started fostering dogs. And they found out that Michelle was a registered nurse. So it gives her a leg up on most of us. Although, I've learned a lot over the years.
Like the way you said that, a leg up. It's pretty good.
But, so I'd say for 5 years, we were doing a lot of fostering. And then the shelters started giving us the really sick dogs because my wife knew how to take care of them the best. So doing that, we realized that there was very few, probably a handful of true dog hospices in the world. And so we said we have to start a dog hospice so we can help more dogs because, frankly, we were spending a ton of money on 9 different dogs some were ours that we adopted, seniors, and some fosters. And we just said, look, if we want to help more dogs, we need to start a nonprofit, which Monkey's House is. And we get thankfully we have supporters that will donate to us.
Very good. Well, I will like you on Facebook. I also have my Unleashed show. I have a page on Facebook as well. And I do have a book club. And I know that you have, the book out, Where Dogs Go to Live. And I will definitely post that. And, after this goes out, whatever we could do, because I know it's very expensive for care of animals. And what you're doing is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It really takes special people to care for animals like that. A lot of people, they just can't do it. There's a lot of animals that need care that, you would have to give them a shot, and not everybody's able to do it. That's why I said there's special people who rescue, who foster, and who take in sick animals because they're able to care for them. And see, what you do is your niche.
And Cheryl, there is an army of people that help us. When you think about it, like I said, we have our aunts and uncles, which are our volunteers. There's Michelle and I, which are nonstop. I have a full-time job as well. But then there's, like you said, there's transport people. There's people from all over the world that help support us financially or even emotionally. And then there's other people who, there just seems like a ton of people, other rescues that will get dogs that will actually save the dog, and it'll go through 2 or 3 different hands before it comes to us. So there is an army of people that are helping out. And like you said, some people, it is emotional. We lose about 20 dogs a year because we're a hospice. And it's they're like our own dogs. And it tears our heart out every time. But we do it because somebody has to do it. And it's really all about the dogs. It's not about us.
But we're going to break for a commercial. We'll be right back.
Looking for a dental treat that does more for your dog? Daily Dose is a 2-in-1 chew that pairs a daily dental scrub with powerful supplements to help with the biggest health concerns facing our dogs. Daily Dose was developed by vets to be simple to use and super effective. Plus, dogs love the taste. Available for joint, skin, heart health, or calming. Daily Dose. Your pet's daily dose of awesome. Visit yourpetsdailydose.com to save $3 on your first bag with promo code PETLIFE. That's yourpetsdailydose.com.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shar-Pei rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal.
DINOVITE.com.
People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and we're talking to Jeff Allen from Monkey's House, Dog Hospice and Sanctuary, Angels on Earth. So what do you foresee right now, which with the virus happening, there's got to be a lot of animals that aren't being cared for. And like you say, a lot of animals whose owners go missing or pass away. Just like with people, we internalize and we become ill. So I would think that with the coming months, you're going to be a little busy.
COVID-19 has really been hard on us. I think in some areas, I know they say people are adopting more dogs, but they're adopting the healthy dogs, which is great, right? That's what we like to see. As long as hopefully when things get back to normal, that they're still part of the family and they're still loved like part of the family. Our problem is our volunteers are not here now because we're trying to social distance, and we're a little bit older, so we're not quite in the category of the folks that could really catch COVID and then have complications. But still, we have to be careful. So my wife and I really have been taking care of it. And we normally have 25 plus or minus dogs here. We also have some in what we call forever fosters. So in general, we have about 35 dogs at any point. We're down a few dogs because, like I said, it's just my wife and I. So there are dogs that if we don't take them, they will be destroyed.
So you have to take them. I understand. You can't let that happen.
Yeah,
first of all, it's not like you can't let it happen. You're not going to let it happen. So, and
that's
now
correct.
That's more. But I read up on you and you talked about walking, but you do have a large property. And right now with the weather, it's still not that cold. It's still beautiful. Animals, if they're able to and healthy enough, they can get out and run. And I guess they all get along with each other, right?
Yes. So we only accept dogs that are other dog and cat friendlies because we do have actually a couple cats that are around the farm, and grandpa comes in the house once in a while and walks around. So they are all cat and dog friendly. Now, sometimes we'll get them we'll have up to almost 20 dogs in the main house. And then we converted our garage and another room on the other side of the garage for the dogs that, they're not used to having that many dogs around them. So we're very good at bringing dogs in, introducing them very slowly. And, the pack walks are very important. Like you said, walking is critical. The ones that can't walk, we have strollers or we have wagons because we have everything and anything. We have dogs that are missing back legs. We have dogs that are blind. We have dogs that are blind and deaf. We have the gamut here of almost everything you could think of.
Amazing. And it's just you and Michelle, right?
It's children? Just Michelle.
Or your children
correct.
Have flown the coop?
You know what? No, we were never lucky enough to have children. So all of our children have fur and 4 legs.
4 legs.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. I know I saw a video online, and I post a lot because I do a lot of stuff with animals, posting pictures and stuff. And there's this one man, he must have 14 old dogs. He gets up in the morning. It is just amazing. One can't come down. He has to carry a little bit of a thing, but he's got a whole routine, how he feeds them. Oh, and he even has a pig, and they go for a walk in a wagon. It is hysterical. It's the whole day. And he comes in or he'll start to do laundry and they're all asleep in the living room. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a lot like that here because
much animals. Before, pets used to be cats and dogs, or you're lucky enough you have big property, you'll have a horse. But now with all these videos and, people with farms and sanctuaries, with the goats, with the sheep, with the pigs and the horses and the dogs, and everybody's friends with everybody, we could learn so much from these animals because they really, truly all get along.
They get along, and it's amazing that they are so in tune with one another. We'll have a dog that is getting ready to pass, and the other dogs know it. And we've had one of our German Shepherds went over and put her head.
Cats know that too.
Yeah, and they put their head, like they actually are comforting them. It's amazing to see that love that the dogs have for one another. So
I know, we can learn a lot.
We certainly can.
So I definitely will post on my book club, the book. And I guess you talk about all of this. Well, you're pretty lucky that, Michelle is a nurse. You're never a retired nurse or a retired doctor. So in that respect, the extra care. And I guess you have veterinarians that are able to help you answer any questions or something like that.
We have a couple of main veterinarians that help us, Dr. Knight, Dr. Morgan, and then we have a lot of specialists that we have as well because we have a cardiologist, we have, an eye doctor, you name it, we've had it. And Michelle picks out the best. She's very particular about who works on the dogs and wants to make sure they're the best. And like I said, in the book, Where Dogs Go to Live, I highlight about 37 of the dog stories. So it's a very uplifting, inspiring book. You might think that it's not because it talks about hospice, but I really wanted to make sure, and that's how we want even the dogs here. It's never negative. It's always positive energy. So that's what we try to do. You were talking about dogs can teach us so much. One of my chapters is called The Best Teacher is a Hospice Dog, because these dogs do teach us so much. And I think not just a hospice dog, but dogs in general, they can teach us a ton.
I grew up with a dog. My parents had a tricolor collie before I was even born. I learned how to walk on him, walk by pulling up on him when I was very little. But children who grow up with animals, it really does, compassion, kindness. Plus, it's a best friend. Doesn't matter what the bullies out in the world or people who tease you. When you come home, your dog or your cat or your horse or your sheep or your goat, they're your best friends. It's love.
Cheryl, it's amazing you brought that up, because in my book, I have in chapter 5, it's called A Dog and His Boy. One of our aunts, one of our volunteers, he was 3 years old when she started to foster our dogs for us. And she was forever foster, which means they live with that family, but, we supply everything they need. And he is on the autism spectrum. So when he was 3 years old, he was very kind of quiet and shy. And then they started taking dogs. Now they have 3 of our dogs, 3 of the Monkey's House dogs. And he gets along great with these dogs. And come to find out, dogs are like one of the best things for children with autism.
Yes, they are.
It's like you said, it's a partner to them. Like sometimes, the children don't get along maybe as well with other children, but they get along so great with these dogs. And it teaches them a lot about, friendship, and it brings them out of their shell. So it's amazing what animals will do with children. I say even adults, but.
Oh, definitely adults.
Yep.
Definitely adults. It used to be that expression, everything we need to know in life, we learned in kindergarten. Some of these adults today haven't gone to kindergarten, but, with an animal, I'm sure you've seen that video. I think it's been around for years, that one little boy who's, I believe, autistic, and he's not communicating, and the dog is like on his lap, putting his paws on him, and the kid keeps moving back, and the dog keeps moving towards him. So finally, he realizes that the dog isn't a threat. Because, a lot of autistic children don't like to be touched. But yes, the dog has kept on it and on it. And I think a lot of people who have children with autism or Asperger's realize that it's very good for them to have a dog. Well, they have dogs that go to hospice or chemo or to hospitals to comfort people.
Absolutely. Comfort dogs, I think they might call them. There's obviously service dogs. There's service dogs for sure, but there's also the comfort dog.
Even us in our last hours, if we had to have hospice, we'd want good care. So I think what you're doing is marvelous. You will be blessed. You're going up the ladder. You'll get a couple of gold rungs, because we really need people like that. I'm going to try to get a hold of this book and I'll read it, but I find it very interesting. And I certainly, will push, your monkeyshouse.org and try to get some of my friends, how on Facebook for my birthday or for this or that, I'm giving to blah, blah, blah. So yes. I'll try to orchestrate something like that. Because even if you're nonprofit, you could always use the help.
Thank you very much. And like I said, the book, Where Dogs Go to Live, is available on Amazon. Actually, it's available everywhere and anywhere. So any online stores, Barnes and Nobles, even the brick and mortar stores.
There is Barnes and Nobles. I think they're gone.
There's an online store, and I think there's actually a few stores still around. Most of them are gone. You're correct.
Terrible, isn't it?
Yes.
Can't even go into a bookstore anymore. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Maybe somebody will open up a new one when this virus leaves us. All right, so now it's monkeyshouse.org. So if anybody wants to go there, and like I said, I'll post it. I'm going to like you on Facebook. That's what it's under, Monkey's House?
Yes, it's Monkey's House. I think it might be Monkey's House, a dog hospice and sanctuary.
So now what is a normal day? And you have a full-time job, you said.
So I work for a pharmaceutical company. Actually, I'm in technology, so I can work from home, I'm thankful for that, right? Because most people, a lot of people, especially in the service industry, have lost their jobs. So then we, like you said, it's almost a 2-hour morning and 2-hour night. That's just the feeding process. They all get tailored meals. So you have to make sure. Now, we cook some ahead of time. But still, it's a couple hours getting prepared to feed, and then you walk them. And then there's, obviously a lot of vet care. There's different type of, we have a microbubble treatment here that helps with skin ailments. They could get that. So there's a ton of things done in between the meals. But you're talking probably almost 4 hours with both of the meals combined.
It's a good thing it's not a cat hospital where you have to clean out litter boxes.
Yeah,
And it would
that's
take
true.
Another 4 hours. I have 2 cats, and boy, I'm getting tired of it. It really is something. But yeah, you could walk them or let them just run if they can run. But I think it's wonderful. So on the average, do they stay for a while? So they really do get to live?
They really do. They really do. I don't know how to say. On average, I would say they're here much longer than we anticipated because it's so healthy, because they're getting love. They don't want to leave. They haven't had it this good. I'd say on average they're here 9 to 10 months, maybe a year.
That's wonderful.
It is amazing because a lot of the shelter vet will say, well, this dog is going to be with you for, he only has 3 or 4 months. Just take him home, and let him pass is what their concept is, right? We're like, no, we don't let anybody pass. They come home with us. We do all the vet care they need. Some of them will be on underwater treadmill if they need to get mobility back. They'll get the food, the healthy food. They'll get the home environment. And next thing you know, this dog is with us for 9 months. It's supposed to be here for a month. Or we've had a dog that was here 4 years that had every health condition that you could imagine, but still enjoyed life. Like, we're not going to keep them if they're not enjoying life.
I understand that. Yeah, nobody wants an animal to suffer. But if they're not suffering and they can be helped, it's a little different, I think, with dogs. I mean, I know animals try to hide pain or suffering. I mean, even cats are pack animals. They try to hide it. But because of Michelle, you would probably know the kind of ailment they have that they were in pain. But even 9 months is really a blessing. Could you imagine?
No, it really is. And I don't know how Michelle does it. She's an expert in it. And of course, we have the vets too to help us out. We always say to pet owners that have a good relationship with your vet. If you don't have a good relationship, Michelle jokes and says, if you can't really hug your vet, then maybe you should try to find a new vet, because you're going to depend on them with your best friend, right? So make sure that you have a good vet that you really like, that's knowledgeable, and it's going to look out for your pet.
That's true. That's true. Well, I really thank you for coming on, and I'd like to keep in touch with you, and maybe down the road we'll do a check-in, and I have all your information. And to all of our listeners, it's monkeyshouse.org, and the book is Where Dogs Go to Live. And I want to thank you, Jeff, for taking the time. I want to thank Mark, our producer, and I want to remind all of our listeners to live life unleashed. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.